guys, Colleen Balderson here with the English Law Group with a quick little update about fair housing laws. So Louisville Metro has expanded their ordinance for non-discriminatory practices when dealing with real estate. You know, before it was if you, you could not discriminate against anyone for race, color, religion, national origin, familial status, disability, sex, gender identity, or sexual orientation. They have now expanded that for anything dealing with real estate, whether it is selling a house, renting a house, listing a house for sale or rent, anything like that, exchange, whatever. If it deals with real estate, you now cannot discriminate. Again, it is unlawful to unlawful. You shouldn't be discriminating anyway, but it is considered an offense of this ordinance, a violation of the ordinance, if you discriminate against somebody for being military, either active or retired military. If you, and that can be the reserves as well, depending upon how they get their income, if they are getting government assistance for income or alimony, child support, anything like that, you can't discriminate based on how they get their income. Now, if they don't make enough income, I mean, okay, for rent, you don't have to rent to somebody who can't afford it, but it doesn't matter how they get their income. You cannot discriminate based on that. And then also, if they're homeless. So if you give a rental application to somebody and they don't have an address, or they use the St. John Center or something like that as an address, you can't just say, okay, well, based on the fact that they're homeless, they probably can't pay their bills. And so we're just going to say no. You cannot do that. You cannot discriminate to somebody based on their status as to whether or not they're currently homeless, which is really good, I think. And then also with convicted criminal offenses. So this is where it gets a little bit trickier. Pretty easy to say somebody's a veteran or they're not a veteran. But as far as criminal convictions, if you do a background check, there are certain things that you cannot discriminate against if a person has that conviction. Now, you don't have to take on anyone or, sell or lease your house or apartment to someone who is a known active drug user. That's not required. If they have been kicked out or evicted from public housing based on a criminal conviction in the last 3 years, if they wouldn't qualify for public housing, then you don't have to rent to them. If it is somebody is a registered sex offender, if they've been convicted of trafficking, human trafficking, certain different Class A felonies, some Class B felonies, capital offenses, if a conviction had to do with methamphetamines, which usually that's the production of them. Anyway, that gets really that gets very specific. So if you have somebody who has applied for renting your house or apartment and you're a little concerned about what comes up on their criminal background check, just give us a call. There's also, you can call Louisville Metro's Human Rights Department. They can give you some guidance on that. But you just don't want to get in trouble for discriminating against somebody that is now a protected class. When you are selling a house, and if you are an agent or a seller and you really want to know the backstory on the people who are going to be renting or buying your house, getting a letter stating, their story and why they want to live there could really put you in jeopardy of violating some of these laws. So if you find out that somebody's got a little kid and you would much prefer to have somebody without kids living in an apartment, or buying a house, you always envisioned a family with 3 kids and this person has just that, that's actually discriminatory based on familial status. So I'll do another video all on that, but be very careful. The more information you obtain, the more of a case that could be made for discriminatory practices. That is not to say if you're renting to someone, you don't have to do your due diligence and find out whether or not that would be a good fit for your place, but you cannot discriminate based on these things. So that's all I got for today. Colleen Balderson with the English Law Group. Stay well and subscribe to the YouTube station if you want to get more updates.